Hey guys, welcome to the Blue Collar Business Podcast, where we discuss the realest, rawest, most relevant stories and strategies behind building every corner of a blue collar business. I'm your host, Cy Kirby, and I want to help you. What it took me, trial and error, and a whole lot of money to learn. The information that no one in this industry is willing to share. Whether you're under that shade tree or have your hard hat on, let's expand your toolbox. Welcome back to another episode. I am pretty pumped up for this episode of the Blue Collar Business Podcast. Today, we have a wonderful sponsor helping out on this episode, podcastvideos.com. We are in the standard room the old BCB is normally shot out of, but we are coming at you through brand new, beautiful 4K capturing cameras on the wall, a little bit different angles. Let us know what you guys think. I'm really enjoying the new look in this room. It's changed it completely. So shout out to podcast team, always innovating quickly. Shout out to Miss Brooke and the business development team here. When you start making about $750 million a year, things are, if you can perfect it, you can make some good money there. That's usually you 5-6 guys. You know what I mean? Max. But there's no that's that 750 on the low end to $1 million mark on the high end. Once you get past that, admin staff, managers, project man, it starts, you don't even know which direction to go. Mm-hmm. I didn't. Hell, I was just throwing freaking darts at the wall.
You're just
trying to buy.
Just keep speeding up.
Literally, I'm just trying to buy some of my time back, and nobody's going to care as much as myself. You know, that's what's going in my mind instead of, hey, why don't I put my mind on paper so somebody can maybe have half a clue. Anyways, that's where I'm at now. But that next jump is monumental, and you're looking at it when you're the first 3 or 4 years, you're finally locking in some good work. People know who you are. Things are rocking and rolling. And you're like, man, I really want to do this thing. It's a $2 million a year revenue situation that you need to even get back 2 to 2.5 where you're feeling comfy again. There's not I'll do another 100, 150 next year. Because there's so many extra assets or different equipment or whatever it is just to make that extra 100K. Well, then you need to make a little bit more to pay for the equipment that you bought for this specific job, but you didn't really need to buy. You could have rented it, but you didn't figure it that way. And man, there's so much you learn.
But that's stuff people don't see, and I haven't.
Or talk about.
Yes, absolutely. Because you just said it. I hope people kind of caught that. You can keep growing in the beginning. The earlier you are, the easier it is to grow. You know, if you make, we did, 40,000 and then 80 and then 200 and then 250. You know what I mean? That's easy. Mm-hmm. And in a way, it gets easier to grow, but you have to establish those systems or you can't anymore. You hit a ceiling where and we haven't transitioned through 1 or 2 million. You know what I mean? So we're not on the other side of that.
Yep.
Like you're talking about. But we're to a point now where I can see that, if we don't implement systems to help this situation, you can't set up for expansion without systems.
Yo, you definitely can. I'll tell you all about it, and you will learn the hard way, very hard way. You'll have good people leave, and then you'll be sitting there wondering why, in your head, if you haven't put it on paper, put any systems in any place, nobody has any idea where we're trying to go.
Right.
And these guys don't even stand a chance to do what you want them to do, let alone succeed together, because nobody really has a plan. And that falls back on the leader. And dude, I grew and I doubled my gross revenue and I doubled it again and I was we got up and in 23, things were just out of control. Literally, I can stand here and say that. Don't get me wrong, we did a lot of work.
Yeah.
Quality was there sometimes, and I think quality started to question because of quantity. 24, we redacted, and if I would have concentrated, dude, I had people throwing things at me. My wife, i.e., hey, can we please just slow down for 2 seconds? And have you put this down on paper? And what you showed me today was huge early on. 2 smaller crews running around. Equipment feels like it's everywhere when you don't, every time you need it, it's not there. And you got to spend more money to move it to get rake out 10 rocks for Miss Sally to finish up a job to get paid.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I don't quite know where I was trending with that, but that growth and scalability is just so hard. And I was talking about your scheduling piece that you were showing me. And in the early years, bro, I didn't care about any of that.
Yeah.
I just wanted more revenue, which created more problems, and it wasn't concentrated on profitability. Do you know you're not seeing money for 90K in 90 days?
I had some mentors, you could say, everybody but Treyba. You need to go talking about market. Come on, whip, pop a wheelie, baby. Other than Treyba, I had a few others that are like, I don't, not trying to talk me out of it, but just like, hey man, kind of watch your. I'm like, no, I don't. I hear you, appreciate it. We won't go that route. And then a few months into, we had 3 projects going at once, and then we were able to manage them with a couple guys,
Right.
But it was a lot. Like when those phone calls, they all came in within 2-3 hours of each other on the same day,
and
I'm like. Exactly what we were just talking
proving
about,
our point.
And it was right when I just figured out how to do all the residential stuff. We just had it perfect where we're like, this is going to be a busy month.
Yeah.
Phone rings again. And I told that, I said, all I'm waiting on is the next guy. And then he calls and I'm like, I don't know what to do. So we were able to get it done. But, then I saw what those guys meant. We worked for a few GCs. I won't get into that too deep.
No, God.
You've got to watch your ass.
I mean,
you really do, because I'm reasonable. Okay, is the best way to put it, right? Like and I had people don't do anything for free and don't ever do it, and I'm like, man, I hear you. You're right. I don't.
That's a tough one
too. Yeah, but I want to. When in doubt, I'll help you out type of deal. If I'm there, you know what I mean. If I'm on site, I won't get into specifics, but. For all 3 of these GCs, we ended up in a situation where, hey, could you grab? And we're talking 30 seconds cost me no money type of deal.
Okay.
You know what I mean? But I'm like, yeah, I'll do. Well, then of course they see what they can take.
You bet, man.
We lost money on 2 of those jobs for 2 different GCs. I have the best relationship in the world with one of them. I'll just put it that way. Mm-hmm. My fault. I missed some stuff. Part of it. I went into that. Yeah, went into that. We lost a lot more money, on one of the other ones, and you just got to watch yourself. Like I said, you've got to watch standing up for yourself and not letting those people, push you around,
dude,
because they'll take everything they can get.
But I think also too, dude, is the confidence within ourselves.
Yes.
During that time, because we're like, as business owners, I was in the same set of shoes, dude. I gave the world away because number one, I just didn't know.
Yes, absolutely.
I didn't know I could stick up and stand up for myself, but it took me some time. Hey, let's be reasonable. Like you're talking about. Yeah, hey buddy, this is my bid set. This is what you want me to do. It's not on this bid set. You haven't provided me anything differently up until this point. I understand you're working off of this set, but you never provided me that set. Absolutely. I don't care if the revision happened.
Absolutely.
If you ain't provided it to me, I can't price it. So I can't tell you how many times revisions just come through. Hey, we just need to change this up. Oh, okay. Okay, no big deal, man. Yeah, we'll just move this, add a couple materials, send a change order, and never see it again.
Yeah.
They'll never pay it because... Yep. Oh, well, you just did it. That was just part of the contract, man.
Yeah.
And we can go off into that, dude. I've been burned
But they know
tens of thousands.
They know how to muddy the water so bad. Because when I talked to people, why didn't you just do that? I'm like, I can't. Well, I would have told them I did. They said no. They know what they can. They know how. You know what I mean?
They've been playing this game longer,
yes,
brother.
Absolutely. And they've got more time and money to play the game.
Oh yeah.
I don't have if I've got iron on a site, and it's especially if it's not close to home, and we've got machines there, I can't sit there with 4 guys and 4 machines for 5 days waiting on a change order because they're just going to wait. And so at that point, we ran into this where I'm like, they're calling me, and I'm like, just do it. I don't, it's going to cost us $5,000 more. Just do it. And then, hey, is that coming through? Oh yeah, we're working on. Yeah, And then once you get done with the next project, or halfway into the next project, oh yeah, no, that check comes in light. Hey, what about? Oh no, it didn't get approved. Cool. Cool. Because you knew I
couldn't
would start this one.
You couldn't let me know for the last 75 days while I was waiting on this?
Damn well.
Oh, well, I just found out yesterday on the check cut.
Yep. They know how to muddy the water just enough to drag you along, but they don't give a shit that relationship could have been so much better.
Hands down.
You know what I mean? Like, I'm going out, like, I don't know. I'm doing whatever I possibly can to make everything right, and to where you're out nothing, and to where you called me on the next one, which they did, and they do. Hey, you know, we get a ton of invites from all these same GCs when we get done working with them. That right there speaks to what I need to do. Yeah, we got some stuff to figure out. We always will.
Yep.
You know, we're always going to have stuff that we're like, you know, we got to learn something here.
Every day, dude.
Yeah, like that's just the way it goes. But we will see it through, and it will be right, even if it takes us a little bit longer. I've got to eat, you know, a little bit more money on it.
Yeah, I just want to jump on something you said that I think could be a world of change for a lot of guys. Because don't feel bad. I mean, I was the exact same way. He said, "Do it," and I go home, tell Mama. When that check comes and she goes, "Hey, where is this extra money you said we billed for?" And I'm looking at her and go, "Well, you know, Timmy, the project manager, let me call him up." Well, that sucker don't answer his phone because he's off on the next project. He don't need you no more.
No.
But when you said, "Hey, man, just do it on the phone," my response after a couple of times was, "Hey, brother, just shoot that into an email to me, and we'll go ahead and get jumped on this."
Yeah.
As long as I've got written approval from somebody above, it can stand up legally down the line. But phone calls mean nothing.
Right.
Text messages can mean a lot, nothing like an email.
Sure.
But just, hey, man, and I know a lot of you guys are in the resi world. They're like, "Oh, well, these guys aren't emailing." I understand the commercial side. It's all about email. But on the resi side, text message, you've got to. Like, "Hey, I totally want to do this for you, and we're going to tackle it, no issues. Will you just shoot this into me in a text message that you're approving this?" It just, the transparency in the early years is everything. And I just sat on a podcast not a couple weeks ago, sitting here talking about the same thing. I was so scared to let them know I was making a little bit of money. Like I was out there to do this for education or something, which I was. But I was learning and I was paying for my education. Sure. But I still needed to make a little money at the day. 100%. So, like, I would be, and that builds distrust immediately, and it's going to drive more questions. And then, because, dude, in those years, I'd be like, why are these guys asking so many questions? Like, did you not see how much freaking work I did? And it's like, nope, they don't. But they do remember that little 10 by 10 area you didn't get because you wanted more money for it. You wouldn't do it until you had this sign. So there is a gray area there. Hardcore. But in the commercial GC world, there is no gray area. Right. If you don't CYA, boys and girls, you are hoes. They're not looking out for you. Yeah. Just their project. Coming under 100%. Budget.
But for me, if you're that GC and you've got more stuff lined up and you just keep burning every damn bridge you've got with every sub you've had.
They're still out there, though, bro. Every single... And I don't understand how they keep getting work. People, stop giving these crap GCs freaking work. Well, they're the cheapest. Well, don't be mad.
They're taking $3,000 from every effing sub on the whole damn job that can't afford it. And when I say $3,000, they're taking $15,000 from the framer. And
I love when the owners. I can't tell you how many projects I've been on, and an owner walkthrough will happen, and I was there. I was the cheapest guy. I'm not saying anything, but I could never understand. They would just come on site. Everything would be wrong. The building, whatever, the material, these guys didn't show up on time. And I'm like, why? This is not something I want to do every day.
Yeah.
Why do I keep getting with these, lack for a better word, shitbags, and dealing with the same superintendent that doesn't have a freaking clue what he's doing? He's brand new.
But you get punished for their disorganization. They don't have their shit in a pile.
No.
And so that costs you money around every corner of the entire damn project.
Every single day.
And you can't fight that. You know what I mean? It's too muddied up where you can't be like, well, I tried. It's such a convoluted bullshit by that point that I'm like, you guys don't have your shit figured out at all.
Yeah.
And I'm suffering, day after day.
I'm telling you, man, everything you just said, I got to witness standing there. The admiration and the inspiration for these kids, and that you see in them that they don't see in themselves yet, is man, it's such an opportunity, and you aren't just striking on the opportunity. You are absolutely pushing the envelope, and thank you. I know each and every one of those kids, I tried to hit it home about the opportunity that they have been given to come out at 18 years old with the skills that they're obtaining through these programs is they don't even understand. I wouldn't have at that age either. I would have, we're at high school, what time's it done? I'm going to go fishing, or, senior year I was in the workforce program, so I would have bit into this hard. They didn't offer anything like that. So, so take us through kind of how the heavy equipment came into play. We heard about the CDL school, but the heavy equipment, I don't think there's many places in the country doing what you guys are doing.
No, so I talk with a lot of our business partners, and there's some schools in other states. Crossland runs one out of Kansas for their entire division. There's some trade-type schools in Oklahoma and some other neighboring communities, but for Arkansas, there's not a heavy equipment program, and from a public school standpoint, it's really unique. So it's a brainchild of my boss, Rodney Ellis, led by Dr. Cleveland, our superintendent. I mean, you have to have leaders that are innovative and open-minded, and then really Rodney and I just sat down and we started hammering it out what was important. My background, heavy equipment, comes from a dear friend of mine. He actually passed just right before Christmas. Butch West. He worked for Shiloh Tank and Steel, and my dad was a mechanic, and I'd worked with Dad, and I'd worked for Butch, and he did dirt work, concrete, and that was my earliest experience. I go over there. He's my little league coach. We would dig, and I've tied so much rebar. I can tell you what I didn't want to do as a child, and that was to tie rebar. But we spent a lot of time in the ditch. But he taught me how to operate equipment and precision and stuff like that. And so the passion was there from a child. I mean, 8, 9, 10 years old, running a dozer was a cool thing. And it was just ingrained, hard work. And, I've got a couple of college degrees. They're great, been beneficial for me. But I still, to this day, carve out a week or two a year to do some sort of project. And I can make more in a week with my hands than I can make in 3 or 4 months at the school. Yeah. And but that's where it came from. It's like, how can we get heavy equipment, in a public school setting? And then Roddy and I sat down and started writing grants. We just come up with the idea, and we push and push and push. And we've taken advantage of, some funding through federal sources, OSD from the state. We're trying to use, corporate tax dollars wisely. And I assure you, we're not wasting any time. The kids can tell you we work from the time we get there to the time we leave. Somebody's going to be on a machine. We do, like yesterday, we were putting in silt fencing for our stormwater permits. Oh, my So we Lord. Trenched, we dug, we buried, we put in several hundred feet in an hour.
That's awesome.
Yeah, we're going back reseeding. Giselle was on the dozer yesterday. A back dragging before we can seed some areas. We got to get a little better vegetative buffer. Cooper, he moved a lot of trees. He also put in our construction entrance, got B-stone out there. He put that in. So, not only are we just doing like heavy equipment stuff, we went to the city, Springdale City the other day, and they all got operator permits and went through the stormwater process. The entire class, we had 60 kids. So shout out to Springdale, planning, engineering, yeah. And so everybody, we're going through these processes. They know how to permit.
That is,
and so we're not just doing this play, go out there, conk a toy. It's real, where the rubber meets the road. Kids are really a part of the learning process. This is the real deal. Yeah, we're going through the same. We got shut down for a small violation. We remedied the violation. They go talk to the individuals. We got the right permits. We remedied our problems. A lot of it was through ignorance. We fixed it. We move on. But now these kids know what they have to have before they even start. They can tell you the width, length of construction entrance, what we got to have on our permit signing. And so that's where we really are trying to provide a real-world, authentic experience where they're working. They get dirty. We're muddy. We're greasy. Yep. We're fixing stuff. We blow lines. Tear GPS units off, and that's expensive.
That goes a little different in the real world, guys. Yeah. I'll just tell you that because the GPS side of things is such a costly investment. But you hit a few things that I wanted to mention before going too much further. You've got to have leaders that are willing to push the envelope in your position. Number one, you've got to have an idea. Hey, can we do heavy equipment too? Somebody coming up with that idea, but you shout out to Mr. Ellis sitting down with you and going, okay, yeah, let's push this, let's try that. And here you guys are. And to that real world experience, watching them, all of the different operators sort tin compared to this metal, and here's the trash, and just picking away at that chicken house and that house there was crazy. But you're providing influence that I never had. Sure. You are, maybe the only father type figure that a lot of these kids have, and that mentorship is something that they'll never ever forget in their entire life. Oh man, I wish I had a mentor that loved and cared about me back then, rather than threw a hard hat at me because we're not getting production done. Yep. So, and it's real life, and to be able to. You're not just giving them the operating experience. Now you're talking about permits. I've got operators that have been probably operating 10, 15 years in life and never had to deal with a permit in their life. Right. Never done stormwater prevention. That's the superintendent level and above. And so showing a little bit of insight to the whole concept, having them do silt fencing, like silt fencing can be its own standalone business. Set up, skid steer, trencher. You guys know how to do it. Obviously you came from a stormwater prevention plan or a grading plan. You learned, you measured, you went out there and you put it in the ground. Just like that's exactly what, you're 18, you're not 25, and you didn't have to go 6-7 years through 5 or 6 different businesses or companies as you're trying to learn that process and finally grab a hold of that mentor. Because we talk on this show all the time about, I always ask about who is that mentor and that influence. And, my grandfather was my influence, obviously, but there's always that one that just absolutely sinks the hook in you. And you're doing that for so many. And it's just crazy. Man, just coming in here preaching, ain't he?
Mm-hmm.
He is.
And I want to add on to a little bit
Go ahead.
more of what you said about like the mentor and the leadership. Honestly, Burkett has showed us so much about that. He literally sees a lot in us more than we do in ourselves. And it's like in the real world, if you're coming late, if you're laying around being lazy, not doing what you're supposed to be doing, you're going to be like fired. But with Burkett, he calls us out on it and he tells us like, hey, you need to work on this, you need to work on that. And he literally shows us every day like how much he cares about us, how much he like does things for us. And for him to like go out of his way to stay after school, to build up like this whole program going on. Like we might have not known him during that, but when he was like making the program, but it still shows a lot. Like it shows how much he cares for us, and it shows the hard work that he's done for us. And I really want to appreciate that. He's done so
That's
much
the ultimate, ain't it, brother?
It is. Really, that's like there's no gain out of it. It's hard to describe to work on a project. And it really boils back. There's a lot of days that are tough because there's not much glory in going out there spending hundreds of hours by yourself with kids that struggle. There's nobody seeing that. I don't see my boss day to day. Don't see the superintendent or school board. I appreciate their support, but it's really, I just act through faith. God, give me this opportunity. There's days that I want to quit because, it's the efforts sometimes are futile. But we can't give up. If we don't fight for what's right and building up other people, then really what is our worth here anyway? And these kids are the epitome of that. You give them an opportunity, they jump on it, they excel. That's the reward. Because we get on this planet, we're here with nothing and we leave with nothing.
That's right.
All we have is the legacies we left behind. And really a lot of people are forgotten in a few generations. But you can instill, personal beliefs, drive,
ambition,
hard work, all the things that you're bringing to our community. Man, I got to thank you. Nobody else is doing what you're doing. Dude, you're a mouthpiece for programs, for businesses, for good people that work hard every day that are not celebrities, but they do the work that we have to have. I appreciate that.
Well, I appreciate you guys, and I'll appreciate the kind words. Get me all choked up here. But, there was a community spotlight that needed to be shed here. And if we're not careful, here in the next 10 years, the boomers are all going to fade out as business owners. And if they don't have that son or daughter to hand this down to, they're looking at, their 20-year employees, and they've watched boss man stressed for 20 years and they may not want to do with that.
Right.
And so you've got all these interchanges. Who's going to be there to mend that gap? Who's going to be the plumbers? Who's going to be the steel guys, the truck drivers? Nobody's shining any light, and it is costly to invest in this community. But there is no cost compared to not having a resource for them to excel.
Well,
you know what I mean?
One of the challenges that I challenge every business owner, you can't complain if you're not part of the solution. And you can't be a part of the solution if you don't come and tell us what we need to do. And I never ask people for money. I ask for opportunity.
That's right.
You know, and what I want out of businesses is an opportunity to get my kids in front of you so we can showcase what they can provide for your business. I don't need your money.
That's right.
I might need access to a few things that you have, a contact. You know, it's just like these kids here. They know the people at Springdale now. They can go in there and say, hey, you remember that class? You think it's going to be hard for them to get permits? No, there's a relationship. And so those are the kinds of things that I'm asking for businesses to provide.
Yeah.
We need opportunity.
And the relationship, man, you hit the nail on the head. Legacy. You mentioned legacy. And before we move on to more of the questionnaire round for your two minds, legacy, I read something the other day on LinkedIn, Herb Sargent, shout out to Mr. Sargent. I'm getting you on this show, Herb. He said, legacy is not what you leave behind, it's what you leave behind in people. And dude, it almost changed my life because a lot of times I get so frustrated being as a business owner, going a little off topic here, but you want all this tangible things, you want everything to go right, you want all the people to understand, et cetera, but it's the team that you're growing while you're doing the dang thing. Those relationships are key. Just wanted to share that. And what you're teaching, it's the relationships to the city. I mean, there's a certain way you have to talk to the city. There's a certain way you talk to engineers, and getting some of this shown to you guys now within high school guys. And some of you guys are out of high school still in the program, correct?
Actually, no, all these kids are in. Now, we do provide mentorship afterward.
Right.
I'm in contact with kids that graduated 15 years ago. You know, it's just,
of course you are.
You can't not be a part of somebody's life, you know. And, you know, my wife taught me a long time ago, the easiest way to deal with folks is you just always leave them better than you found them. And we don't have to do much other than be kind to do that. And, you know, you can pour into people, build people up, help them realize potential. And, dude, that's just all I do. I mean, I was taught that from a young age. People did it to me, my dad, my mom. And, you know, my wife really taught me that key concept. And, you know, thank God he put her in my life.
Hey, man, I got the same one on this side of the table, or I would be absolutely, shout out Mrs. Kirby. Thank you so much. You're talking about rain. The first, I guess, entrepreneurial spirit you had was mowing lawns, starting right there. And if you don't mind, kind of share how you started from where you're at and blue-collared your way all the way to where you're at today, where we all celebrate you.
Well, I mow yards, you know, and I'd get all the kids in the neighborhood that were my age, my buddies, and I'd be like, hey, y'all stay the night? Next morning, we're working.
You at?
Waking them up at 5:30, you know. And
free labor.
Yeah, oh, man, we would go mow all day and just have fun. Then we'd go spend half that money on fireworks, if not all of it, and school.
Yes, sir.
You know, we just, so that's where I started with, was just mowing when I was a kid. And then that progressed into doing landscaping at some new houses. Each house would get 1,000 yards of sod, 16 plants, and some mulch, you know, and a couple pieces of steel edge and whatever it was to get the house closed out from the construction loan. And, you know, I try to do one of those a week when I was, you know, at junior high. You know, if I could get one a week under my belt, that was almost $2,000.
Wow.
Yeah.
Back then, that was big money.
Back then, I had my own. I had a F-350 flatbed Ford pickup truck, and then a little old trailer. It was called a totem trailer. It would tip like that, and it has handles on it. So it was But the problem was I didn't have a driver's license. So when I bought the damn truck, I rode my bicycle up there to that car lot dealer and told that boy it was Don King's Auto Sales. I'll never forget that. And I told that boy I wanted to buy that truck, and my money was over TCB Bank, and it wasn't a half a mile away, but my house was 2 miles away. So I had to go get my mom to go to the bank with me because she had to sign, get the money to run it over this board. So when I got back up there, he said, I sold it to a wholesaler. I was pissed. I was pissed. Well,
God,
I'm standing there with cash money in my hand. The old man, Don King, come out, and this was his son. He come out. He said, well, what's going on? And my mom said, hey, my son told your boy he's going to buy a truck. And an hour later, we come back with money. See, he sold it to a wholesaler. He said, shit, it's sold to whoever's got the money in their hands. And I gave him the money, and I drove the damn truck home. It was a standard.
Yeah?
Yeah, it was a cool looking truck. Had a headache rack, anything you could dream of.
Yeah, 14.
Yeah. And so that was kind of the start of that whole deal. A little Kubota tractor,
Got into custom mowing.
Oh, yeah.
That's where that went.
Then the custom mowing come along, or, just doing commercial mowing, not just mowing residentials. And that was a new world. I had to learn how to have real insurance. That went on for about, I bought one of the first 0-turn mowers there was, and then 60 days later, I went and bought another. Hell, it might have been 30 days, 45 days later, went and bought another. And everybody said I was crazy. The first one I bought, the second one I bought, hell, I take that for it, And yes, sir.
Dadgum.
And it was on like Donkey Kong.
You learned a little bit about it, huh? Got a little taste.
I loved it. I loved my man. We'd mow all damn day. I loved it. I didn't like weed eat.
It's that instant gratification of smelling that cut grass and looking at a pretty lawn.
Yeah, and if you're going to have one more, you might as well have two. And one of them, keep a chain on it to pull the other one out of the ditches all the time.
The coolest, I think, part of your story, a lot of folks start out in pressure washing or et cetera, but you're still mowing to this day.
Oh, yeah.
And you got mowing crews, and that's how many years?
Since I was a kid, and I'm 40 now.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
And to keep that going and be the backbone for you to start venturing out into the dirt world.
And I should quit mowing, honestly, but I like seeing that check come every 12 months, or, 12 months out of the year. That's cash flow. I get that in the wintertime. Deal like that. If it makes $50,000 a month, I get that check in February, January, March, April, May. So, and then like I told you earlier, you're in a business just like me. Each month represents a ring. In that ring, you have a door you walk in. In each ring, you walk into the next. So we're in January now. We're fixing to open the door to see what February, but we can't see on the other side of February. We don't know if we got no work. We don't know if it's snowing. We don't know.
Money, materials, up, down.
You never know. When you're working for yourself, nobody gives you nothing. If you don't sell it, you ain't make that.
And I think I drove that point home so hard here. Sales is everything, and it's hard to say no to reoccurring passive income at that point. Of course, you've still got expenses, etc., for the mowers and get serviced by Tom. I got to mention Tommy, right? He works on the mowers down. All right, fellow Canuck. Got you, Tommy. I got you, brother.
Do that in because he's a Canadian.
That's exactly why.
We bring that up quite often.
Yes, I
we're going to deport his on us.
Just right off the bat. So, about when was the dirt switch over, and that was kind of the jump?
When I was younger, around 14, I went to work for a fellow named George Fenling, and George built mini-ponds. He had his own mini-ponds, but he had a D8H, a D9, and a HD 16 Alice Chambers, and then two big scrapers, and we built ponds. Once we were done planting, we would build ponds, and I loved it, And so I was kind of bit then, and then after that, I always had a dozer, a road grader, just something. And, it really picked up, I'm trying to think, probably around when I was around 30, in that area. That's when it, because I had like 6 or 8 skid steers on track before people even had them on tracks. They still run around, bounce around on damn rubber. But, we were doing a lot of finish grade on these big commercial landscape jobs. And these are big jobs. These aren't $20,000 jobs. These are $500,000 jobs. And then it just curbed us into more excavating. We got one dozer, then got 2, got 3, 4, 5, 6. And I don't know how many we got now, but it's, 12, 14 damn dozers.
God almighty.
So it's, it just starts growing until you start walking around and going, what the hell's done? You know, it's,
Oh, buddy, do I?
yeah, you just never know. And because, you know, if you'd have asked me, honestly, if you'd have asked me 30 years ago, Trey, are you going to be here? I'd have said, you damn right. See, Dave.
I love the
In there with a smile and a big ass wad of chew in my mouth. You know, he's right there, front center on the podcast.
Oh, I absolutely love it. And then, so my question is, we've actually had a few episodes before I get too far off on the dirt side of things. When did you get a commercial license in the landscaping realm?
So I got a job with Navajo's Construction. It was a landscape job. And they said, you got to have a commercial, you have your contractor's license. Hell, I can barely read. And now I got to go into this damn thing and take this test. Well, I went up there and I thought this was just my thinking. I thought, okay, I'll get up there, I'll buy the damn test. You know?
That's not
So
quite
when
like
I
that.
got there, you wasn't buying nothing. You had to put all your stuff in a locker and actually go in there and do it. And I remember there was a doctor sitting next to me, and I failed the test, and he failed the damn test. So I didn't feel as bad.
You bet.
So I went and bought a study guide, and I really studied it. And one of the questions, I'll never forget that. One of the questions out of 100, or whatever it was how many square feet's in an acre? 43,560. I'll never forget that due to that test. But went up there and took it the next time, passed by 1 point. It was over with.
You bet.
It was over with. We call that Brooks and Dunn.
He quotes that square foot in an acre at least twice a day.
43,560. You bet. Mile is 50. Anyways, yeah, I'm with you. I got my own little quirks, but so the mowing's going along. So I've had a few landscaper buddies. They're kind of stuck in that resi market and they want to break out, but they don't really know how. And I'm like, hey, from what I understand, commercial license on the landscape, it's not as crazy to go get, you know, a unlimited license, grading, utility license. You know what I mean? So you would say for sure take that next step. I just want to shine a little light on Dirt to Dollars here, man. You just hit 100K on YouTube. That's insane on the JCB channel. I wanted to highlight that. Congratulations. But what you're doing with that coaching program, man, is you're helping other me and yous out there that are sitting on their edge of their bed on a Tuesday or a Thursday night going, how am I going to make payroll, to where's the next job? I got all this equipment. And there's not enough resources out there, my guy. And you have I'm part of your free community. Checked it out. Wanted to make sure. And dude, the amount of people that are in there talking, helping, true. I mean, the internet is full. We talked about it before the show. Like the amount of hate, it's just frothing, ready to jump on anything that you throw out there with hate. And to see a community come together and truly try and help each other, and not just you. I mean, like other parts of the community jumping in, dude. It's inspiring and it's admirable. And I wanted to shine some major light on it. And what gave you the idea to start Dirt to Dollars?
Just like everything I've ever done, man, it's kind of just came organically. Like, you know, we started posting the content out there and dude, this goes all the way back to the beginning of the conversation of just like always just being honest and transparent and just showing everything of like the good, the bad, ugly, everything in between. Because, you know, I think our content does so well because we just show the reality of what's going on, whether that's great or whether it's just an absolute train wreck. And, you know, it's relatable because these guys, we show like, hey, I've been in the same spot, and sometimes I'm still in the same spot where I'm like, fuck, man, how am I going to come up with payroll this week because this retaining wall job was a complete catastrophe. And so it's relatable to these guys, and they just started reaching out like, how do I do this and how do I do that, and how are you able to do this, and why did you price the job this way? And so I'm just answering these questions because I've been there, you know, and I feel it, you know what I mean? Like I want to help these guys, and it's easy for me now because like I said, I've got punched in the mouth so many times that I know, like, it's just second nature now. So the answer is very easy. So it's like, why not share this when I wish I had someone for 11 years to go to and be like, dude, how do I do this? But like you said at the very beginning of this call, like, why the fuck is everything such a big secret? You know what I mean? Like, why do these guys,
Yeah, dude.
why do these guys act like all this information is so protected and like we can't help one another? Like, dude, even guys in my local community, like they'll show up in my office and be like, dude, I don't know what am I supposed to do on this job? Like, dude, come in and sit down. Like, we don't have to compete. You know, there's so much work, dude. And like, let's just help one another out, you know? And I don't know what the big thing is like keeping everything a secret and like wanting to compete with one another. And then like, you're not even competing. You're all racing to the bottom because you're not sharing information, you know? So the coaching thing just kind of happened organically, man. Like I'm just answering all these questions for these guys and I'm giving the knowledge out for free. And we really, at the end of the day, like we give the information out for free everywhere, you know? And but the coaching program allows us to be able to sit down with the guys and be like, dude, what are you dealing with right now? Like, if I'm giving the information out online, like, it's just like, hey, this is what we did and this is how we're doing it. But for me to give you, if you were to come to me and be like, hey man, how do I handle this? I need to ask you 10 questions to give you the real answer. That's another thing too, is like, there's so many guys out there that like, they give you the feel good answer or like the content answer, but I won't do that. I even tell the guys in the program that are paying me, like, I'm not going to give you a bullshit answer. Like I need to know these several things about you and your business and how things are going before I'm even going to start to answer your question. And sometimes you kind of got to like peel back as the person who's paying for the coaching. Like you got to take the pride and set it aside and you got to set your ego aside, because at the end of the day, like we may be the best dudes on a machine, but none of us like started as business owners or knew all this shit, you know? So now we are having to climb off the machine and go learn all these things that really aren't that much fun, you know?
No, dude, they suck.
So yeah, I just try to help the guys there, man, because I've been in the same spot and after doing it so many times and learning, there's a lot of things that come to me that are very easy that I can give the information for. And there's things that I'm still learning that I share with the guys as I learn, you know?
I'm literally at the same kind of point. Obviously, we're smaller in our content creation, but at the same point, man, I have folks weekly at this point sending me an email, or LinkedIn is a big place for me, or Instagram, whatever. And will come, hey, we've got these 3 or 4 guys. This guy's stuck here. This guy's there. And I'm kind of finding myself almost passionate about it, because
I get very passionate about it, man, because like I said, I've been the dude who's like ready to pull my hair out. Like, how do I feed my family and pay my payroll? And that's like, if you like, when payroll comes, like, it's not just your family you're feeding, dude. Like you got multiple families, multiple children that are relying on you, you know? So it's pretty fucking stressful, dude. And if I can help someone who's in that position like that, I'm very passionate about that, you know?
Literally teach them that it's okay to elevate yourself. Your entire business is waiting on you to do it. Everything you're complaining about, everything you're asking about, stop working in the business, work on the business. Dude, I'll never forget it. My CPA came into my office, God bless his soul, and he looked at me. This is one of the first 2 meetings. I've had some really crappy CPAs over the years, bro. And dude, like, that's a whole podcast by itself. But this guy is unbelievable, deals with some major companies. And he looks at me sitting in my office after he just wrecks my world and tells me how stupid I am.
Yeah, they're
spins around
harsh.
He's looking at this. We have a low boy, love our low boy, moves our gear, and I love driving it. I couldn't think to put somebody in that truck. I was scared to death moving 100,000 pounds down the road. And he looked at me and he said, look, if I see a video, if you're in that truck and there ain't a damn good reason you're in that truck, we ain't working together anymore.
Damn.
I'm dead serious. And I'm like,
that's accountability right there.
Holy crap. But he had to get it. He knew I was talking about it, but he had to get it through my thick skull. Like, dude, you have to do this or you're not going to survive. You're not going to be able to scale, you know?
Yeah, for sure. Have you ever been skydiving before?
No, bro.
So a couple years ago,
I got no problem going in the ground.
A couple of years ago, I went and got my skydive license. You got to jump 26 times within a certain time period to be able to get it and, jump by yourself. And and stuff. And so, like I said, like call him a little bit of an adrenaline junkie, but the first time when you go, you know, that you're strapped to someone, of course, you got to go tandem. And you know, you kind of hobbling up to the door, the door opens and it just blasts you in the face. And they scream in your ear, which sounds like a whisper. And they say, don't grab the pilot's chair. And you're going up there, you know, and first instinct is to, you're there's such a small, you want to grab that chair, like for safety and to stabilize yourself. Cause you got this wind just blowing past you, you know, and instinctively I reached for the chair and he slapped my hand down, you know, and it just, now they're forcing you with their knees, driving you to the edge. And you know, you practice over and over and over before you go up on the ground, and there's a process, you know, they say lean forward, lean backward, and on 3. So 1, 2, 3, we're skydiving. And on 3, they're pushing you out because at that point it's a liability for everybody, you know? And if you go to grab and hold on to anything like that chair, you could rip that. If you're holding on to that chair and the wind catches you in the tandem, pilot's coming with you, you know? So it's a liability thing.
Didn't even think about that.
This is an extreme analogy, obviously, but like getting in the truck and driving away is like that instinctual, like, you know, but you know, like your mission is to get to the ground. Like you're there to skydive, not to stay in the plane. And it's the same thing with being a business owner. Like we're here to be business owners, not to be in the machine, you know? So it's what you were saying. I think that's a good analogy of like, it's so weird. It's a weird brain thing of like getting in your truck and driving away when you know, like, especially when you know the guys are like behind on the job and you know, you can just crawl in the machine and get them right back on pace, you know? That's a very, very, very big difficulty that I have. Like, you gotta kind of watch them fail almost to like help guide them along the way and say, this is why we're feeling right now. And instead of just, man, dude, get out of the machine and let me get on here. You know, you work like crazy and you get them caught back up, but they didn't learn nothing. And you didn't get any further ahead. You're still stuck in the same spot. You're still holding on with that pilot's chair, you know, like you got to let go and skydive, you know?
Dude, what an analogy. I'll never. So you may have that skydiving license. My, goal is to eventually have the pilot's license, so maybe we can do a different collab there. You ain't kicking my big ass out of a airplane, bud. That ain't happening. It just my heart started pounding when you're like, oh, you're walking up to the door, and I'm like, no, that's not for your boy. But Blue Collar Performance Marketing's passion is to bring attention to the honest work done in blue-collar industries through effective, results-driven marketing tactics. They specialize in comprehensive digital marketing services from paid advertising on Google and Facebook to website development and content strategy. I started working with Ike and the team earlier this year, and they've had a huge impact on our specific marketing campaign and trajectory of our overall company. Their expertise in digital ad management, website development, social media, and overall marketing strategy has been an absolute game changer for our sales and marketing at SciCon. If you're looking to work with a marketing team who does what they say, does it well, and is always looking for ways to help your company grow, book a discovery call with Ike by going to bcperformancemarketing.com/BCB podcast or click the link in the show notes /description below. Thanks, guys. Every blue-collar guy that's just absolutely sick and tired of being stuck in the mud. Maybe it's a guy that's been at the same job for 7 years. Maybe it's the owner that's trying to make that first new purchase. Maybe it's mental. Maybe it's physical. Maybe it's emotional, going through some hard stuff at home, and you just can't capture the right mindset to show up every day and keep going. How do they give us a key takeaway that's helped you do everything that you're doing mentally, man? Or physically, but stuck in the mud, dude. How they get out of that mud?
So here,
Do it.
been in a lot of bad situations, right? Like everybody has. And everybody's bad situations are, you know what I mean? My bad situation is way worse than somebody that probably doesn't own a company. Arguably, you know what I'm saying?
I do,
and then
buddy.
I'll call Trey to complain about it, and he's like, "Oh, you know,
That's a Tuesday.
yeah, exactly." Like, you know, so everybody's problem. But what's a big deal? You know, somebody complaining about losing a tire on their car or whatever. It's a huge deal to them, right? it's not fair to me to say that that's no big deal, because
Right.
it would be if I was in that boat, right? So anyways, I say that to say that I've been in all those situations, and there's times where, like when we had multiple commercial sites going at once and we're getting screwed around on stuff that we can't control, and man, it's running. You were talking about answering to your wife when she's like, where's this money? And man, it takes a toll on your employees, yourself, your wife, your kids, your everything.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I mean, it runs you into the ground.
You know, it's funny, dude. You didn't say yourself in there. And we always, it's like we always, not to cut you off, but it's like we always place ourselves completely last in this equation, because we have so many people we're responsible for.
I don't have time for that.
I don't have time to think about my feelings.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
Yeah. But then, you know, you get to the point where, like, you're so run down. Like, you can't, you know what I mean?
Mentally.
Like, yes. Like, I can't. And I finally got to that breaking point, you know. And when I get in those situations, here's what I started doing. And this is easy sitting right here. It's harder when it's happening.
Mm-hmm.
But you end up in that boat where, like, I'll mourn, so to speak, that situation, right? Like, I'll go through it.
Obsess
let
about it.
Yeah. Deal with, you know what I mean? Go on for a day or two or three or a week or whatever it takes. I mean, during that most recent process, I mean, there was tears shed, dude. Like, I'll be honest, between me and my wife. But, you know, down at the yard, like, just, I don't know
what we're going to do.
Yeah. We tried and we were that way in the beginning when we had $20, you know what I mean? Now we're about to lose another 40 grand, you know, and it's like, how did we try this hard and end up, you know, now she's crying because I'm going through this. I'm like, how? Anyways.
Buddy, do I get what you're saying?
Yes, man.
I lived it.
And that's the stuff nobody's going to understand, nor should they, right? They won't ever know without going through what we're into. But I'll go through those situations, and they used to be smaller, you know, in hindsight. It's like, why did I care that much about that, right? Eventually, I'll be saying the same thing about this most recent situation. If you're growing, problems get bigger, right? But I'll go through and mourn that situation. Like I said, not make any rash decisions, deal with it for a few days, and then eventually I have to logically look at the situation and say, okay, what are my options here, right? Shut down. And so, like, I have to honestly answer this question to myself a couple times because it got so bad. Do I quit? Do I close the doors? Do I give up? And I have to sit there, you know what I mean? For a couple minutes, you know, and like, don't be prideful. Is that the best option? And maybe it is. But every time I'm like, you know, either keep going or shut her down. And every time I'm like, well, I can't freaking quit at this point, you know. So I just keep
away from everything changing.
Exactly. You know, it's all up and downhill. If you get a bad call, you're about to get a good call. You know what I mean? So
there's usually a string of bad calls, there's a string of good calls, and it's just up and down, but it's finding that middle ground and keeping everybody level, which sounds so easy sitting there. It's so easy.
But every time I talk to, like I said, like Trebo, if we're going through, I just keep on keeping on, you know, just keep going. And I'm like, yeah, dude, I get it, but that's really it. You know what I mean?
It really is.
Like when you're like, how do you get through those times? Dude, you just keep going. And that's so easy to say.
Do it.
Yeah. Like you just put another foot in front of the other, and if you're gonna fail, you're gonna go down swinging. I mean, we might go under, as Trebo says, I'll be back in business the next day.
That's right.
I mean, I don't know. That's what it boils down to me. It's so easy to sit here and say, you just keep going, but that's all there is to it, right? Learn. Everybody talks about hard work. Yeah, that's a given. That's a prerequisite.
100%.
Hard work alone won't get you there. Network, learn, give a shit. You know what I mean? And work your ass off. And
relationships.
Just keep going.
What can they use every day to keep going? Well, a Red Bull will start it off pretty damn good, or a Monster Drake. All our guys do it. Hell, there'll be a trash can full of damn empty cans.
Celsius.
But you know, if you get that young guy or woman that doesn't feel like that they're going up, you know what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
Maybe they go talk to the boss. Just go have a good talk, you know. And which if you're working for somebody that's an asshole, just quit tomorrow, because you can go work for somebody that appreciates you. You know, if you ever work for somebody that don't appreciate you, you're in the wrong spot.
Agreed.
Don't never work for somebody that don't appreciate you. But, you know, and if you're working for a boss that is not just a total ass, he's going to listen to you, and he's going to say, you know what, tomorrow, let's go put some time in this machine, you know, or if you're on this job, get out of the water truck, go over, tell the excavator operator, let you run, the last 2 hours,
And speak up. You want seat time, ideally. But what you want to do is you want to be the guy that's on the job site, that boss, that whoever's running it for your company knows, like, whether they're like, hey, you need to go fill up the water jugs, they're the one that they'll go do it. But if you're also, you want to be the one.
You ain't got no water jugs.
But if they're a problem solver.
Man, that water jug in 15 years, we got pallets of bottled water. They'll drink 2 drinks and set it on the machine.
Yeah.
You got to knock it off.
Oh, it drives me crazy.
First that'll do it.
He did that says,
It drives me crazy.
and then you get an operator, like one charcoal operator gets in it and he goes, "Who's been running this machine?"
Oh, God.
Shout out to Samoy.
Gotta listen to that bullshit, Well, it was the guy that ran it yesterday because you had to take off early.
Well, you still needed to make production, sir? What are you talking about?
We really didn't, but the banker was looking at us.
As long as we have people like Briquette that pushes the younger generation, people who are just want to go home, sit on the couch, be on their phones, be on TikTok, and just be just comfortable with where they're at, working fast food or just living off their mom and dad. As long as we have people like him to push those people to get out and get in this heavy equipment class or anything, it's going to be good. I'm excited to see what the future holds for blue collar.
That's cool.
And I feel like Briquette definitely shows us like it's okay if we mess up, because not that long ago we had that new semi and one of our buddies.
Let's hear the story.
Stuck.
The day we roll her in, we've taken a beating in this old truck we've been testing in. I've temp gunned the floor on that old truck. It'd get 130, 140. We was right over the exhaust last year. So we did all this work. I got to thank Rodney. I mean, he really put the work in, got us a nice heavy haul truck. The day we bring it out there, I'll let them pick up from there.
Well, the day that we brought it out, we got there for second period. First period's already like driving it. They've already put some like,
little mud on the old shiny stuff.
Yeah, there's already a lot of ruds. Yeah. And second period, we're there. I'm second period, and we're actually both in second period. So we get there, and we're like, all right, let's get on it. And I guess Briquette had left some students in charge, and then so we go, and they're like, all right, you guys are in charge. And so we're like, okay, we got this. It's me and Sarah. We're like, we got this. We were doing good. Me and her were driving it. We were doing perfectly fine. We have one of our buddies come in. And he was doing fine.
He run her off in the mud.
No.
Yeah, we tell him like stay at the road, stay at the road.
We buried her to the frame.
Yeah,
Well,
and
it created a new opportunity. They had to figure out how to get it out because I wasn't calling a wrecker.
No.
but we tell him like get out the don't go in the ruts, don't go in the ruts. We told him specifically do not drive into the muds, and if you drive into the muds, do not stop. So our buddy goes into the ruts.
Our buddy.
Goes into the ruts. Doesn't just stop, changes gears.
That's where we messed up. He grinded him, so the truck just stopped.
Missed a gear.
And slowly that truck sank and sank.
Yeah.
And it took definitely most of the machines we have out there to finally get it out.
Definitely.
Well,
All of them. It took all
oh yeah,
of
we
the
had to dig it
machines that we
out,
had.
pull it out. It was a mess, but I guarantee you they'll never forget it because I made them hand wash and polish that truck afterward.
Yeah, bad.
And so, it's one of those deals. You got to lick your calf. You make a mistake, you're going to make it right.
That's right.
And so, I wasn't real pleasant with them. So.
We forgave him, and and obviously our buddy, I'm not gonna say names, but he was a little like he felt bad. You can obviously see it in his face, and he did not actually after that he never got into the dump truck. I told Briquette, I was like, give him another chance.
He's going to get back in.
Yeah, he will.
He
Gotta get back in the saddle, old son.
Oh,
Come on. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
for sure.
and he forgave him. We all make mistakes in life, and I feel like that's a really good thing that Briquette did. It's like he gave him another chance.
And for our business partners, they're making these mistakes not on your dime.
That's right.
I guarantee you he will never do that again. Because I promise you, I was raised by a blue collar guy, Marine, and there were harsh words said because he's going to face that in the real world.
Oh yeah.
And there weren't a meaning. It's not personal. But you're going to take your lumps, and you got to make it right. And so, we work on that too.
Well, dude, the number one thing, man, is like, again, earlier, I said I'm a gambler, and that's because the reward that can come with all this stuff, dude, is like, it's really endless as far as you want it to go, man, and that's, I mean, many things by that, not just monetarily, I mean, financial freedom, life freedom, like you said with your spouse, I'm sure that you guys have created a bond that if for some reason she wasn't there anymore, like you can't recreate that with someone else, so there's so many aspects of this that can be so great if you just have a little bit of the knowledge to get to that point. I understand how miserable it can be until you kind of like get over that bridge or start to get over that bridge. But dude, once you start to, it becomes so fun. It's like I don't play chess, but I always say it's like a chess game, because like then you just like you got to start like moving dials and watch and see how things work, and not only do you get to do it for yourself and have all the reward, but like if you do it right, you're now getting to do that for all your employees as well, and dude, it's all about just having the correct knowledge. And again, it goes back to like, we can be the absolute stud on the machine out in the field, but that only gets us so far. We now have to learn all the things about business ownership, which frankly, 98% of the guys that like start their own business because they're really, really good at the service, we just don't know. And there's so many things, like there's so much of this that like we don't know, right? But then there's a whole nother level of things that like we don't even realize we don't know, that the information's out there to help us get over. And then it's not, you don't need a lot. You don't need a lot of information. It's just, it's very simple. It's just a few things that you need to understand to all of a sudden like be like, wow, dude, this is actually working now, and now I'm profitable, and now I can take these vacations with my family, and I can buy the things I needed to buy, and I can fix the bullshit in my life that has been broken for so long, and man, it's just a little bit of information, getting it from the right folks. And it doesn't have to be me. It doesn't have to be from you. Just find someone who's done it for a little bit longer than you. We all have to learn the same way, and it's all really from experience. The shortcut is paying someone who has done it for a long time, but dude, just find someone who is open to helping you, right? Because there's that stupid weird thing, like people think everything's a big secret and don't want to help a lot of folks, man. But just find a mentor, dude, who can steer you in the right path, and the other side of this, bro, looks so much better.
Hey, full encapsulating mindset as to what the impact of the entire country, of that section of the country. So be looking out for that. Go check out bluecollarbusinesspodcast.com for the rest of all 55 plus episodes. Or if you're on a podcast streaming platform, drop us a rating and a follow, guys. Until next time, you guys be safe. If you've enjoyed this episode, be sure to give it a like, share it with the fellers, check out our website to send us any questions and comments about your experience in the blue collar business. Who do you want to hear from? Send them our way, and we'll do our best to answer any questions you may have. Till next time, guys.